Welcome into NFL Takes by Tim. My name is Tim, and this is episode 2. If you haven't caught episode 1 yet, I dive deep into the world of the NFL, and that's what this podcast is about. I talked about Bryce Young and a leap potentially happening in year 3, and I also discussed why I don't think Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson will work. So if you haven't caught episode 1 yet, go check it out on my YouTube page, NFL Takes by Tim. While you're here, hit that subscribe button so this podcast will show up in your feed Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you're willing to, like that video below so we can bring this podcast into more people's lives. This is NFL Takes by Tim. Today, numerous stories to discuss as the NFL preseason gets kicked off about a week after the Hall of Fame games, and there are some massive stories to discuss. Let's start here. Shedeur Sanders is going to start the Cleveland Browns preseason opener, and Joe Flacco will most likely rest all 3 preseason games to make sure he's healthy for the regular season and essentially become the starting quarterback week 1. This is an amazing opportunity for Shedeur. I've seen some people say that he hasn't gotten enough reps. I've seen some people say that this is unfair, throwing him into the fire. And I look at it completely different. When you are a 5th round player, even a 5th round corner or a linebacker, especially if you are a quarterback that's drafted in the 5th round, you are not given many opportunities to showcase your talents as a player worthy enough to get selected in the NFL draft. You don't get many opportunities to showcase that. Teams should have selected you 3 rounds earlier or 4 rounds earlier. And for Shedeur Sanders to get an opportunity to start in the first preseason game gives him an opportunity to showcase to the world why he should have been selected in the first round. If Shedeur goes out there and performs poorly in their first preseason game, then the NFL organizations around the league will be vindicated by their decision not to pass up on Shedeur Sanders once, but to pass up on him 5 different times. Because what comes with Shedeur isn't just the football player, but the name, the distraction, the legendary father that he has, the business side of Shedeur Sanders that wants to be the center of attention. And Shedeur has a lot to prove in this preseason game. Because if he goes out there and plays well, then Shedeur is going to be so overhyped, it's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be Johnny Manziel-esque hype at Texas A&M. It's going to be Johnny Manziel-esque hype getting selected by the Cleveland Browns. So if Shedeur Sanders goes out there and plays well and dominates their first preseason game, is accurate, is efficient, finds wide receivers in small windows, then the owner of the Cleveland Browns, Jimmy Haslam, is going to be in Kevin Stefanski's ear saying, this guy needs to play right now. If he plays poorly, you cannot blame it on the fact that he was thrown into the fire, because there are a zillion quarterbacks in the league that would pray for an opportunity like this, like he gets to have on Friday night. So what's going to happen regardless of how he plays. If he plays really well or if he plays really poorly, he is going to be leading all of the national sports talk shows, the ESPNs, the Fox Sports, because of his name and because of the reputation surrounding him. Now, he'll probably play pretty good. I don't expect Shedeur Sanders to go out there and bomb because he isn't playing against a regular season NFL defense. He is playing against a preseason vanilla defense that's trying to keep your best players healthy when the regular season begins. The question that is going to be answered after he plays is, do you think Shedeur Sanders showed enough in his preseason game number 1, the game he started, to be a competent starting NFL quarterback? And we'll see if that's determined on Friday night. But Shedeur Sanders being in this opportunity is a great opportunity. And there are so many other quarterbacks that play in the NFL and that have played in the NFL that would love the exact opportunity that he is getting. And he's been in training camp. He was in OTAs. He's in rookie mini camps. The dude has a plethora of experience getting playbook ready, understanding concepts and designs and things like that. So the player that some projected to go in the first round gets picked in the 5th round, has a huge chip on his shoulder. Well, this is a great opportunity to show to the ownership group and to the head coach that he is better than not only Joe Flacco, but better than the quarterback that they selected in the 3rd round of the NFL draft out of Oregon. So that's story number 1. Story number 2 revolves around Travis Hunter, the wide receiver / corner the Jacksonville Jaguars selected in the NFL draft. And there's a story on NFL.com that says that Travis Hunter is going to play offense and defense in the Jaguars preseason opener. And he has been very constant on the fact that he wants to play on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Trevor Lawrence had a quote recently saying that he should just play offense. If he wants to score touchdowns, he should just play offense rather than batting a ball or 2 away on defense per game. And right now, Travis Hunter wants to showcase to the world that he is a world-class athlete. That's why he wants to play offense and defense. He wants to make history by performing at a level unheard of at the NFL level. And there have been players that have played both sides of the ball occasionally, like Deion Sanders took a few offensive snaps, but nothing as regularly as Travis Hunter. And it's a trend. This is a mirage. Travis Hunter will not be able to play both sides of the football throughout his entire career because the wear and tear on his body will be too much. Him playing offensively and defensively on every down for the Jaguars through a 17-game schedule in the regular season is impossible for a 10-year career. And what is eventually going to happen is that Travis Hunter's coaches are going to demand that he pick one side of the ball. And that is actually going to be in the best interest for Travis Hunter, because Travis Hunter he is a world-class athlete. He proved it at Colorado. Now he's trying to take it to another level and prove it in the NFL. But if he's playing both sides of the ball, it is not actually as good as he thinks it will be. In his mind, he's thinking, oh, I'll be a world-class offensive and defensive player, and eventually I'll get paid to be a great receiver and a great corner. But it's not going to work like that. He is going to be exhausted playing both sides of the field. And when he's exhausted playing both sides of the field, he is not going to be able to perform at a high level on either side of the field. So it would actually be in Travis Hunter's best interest to pick a place to play, whether it be corner or wide receiver, whichever he's better at, and dominate that position by himself. Then he could earn the biggest paycheck that he could ever get by dominating a position rather than being okay to good at both of them. It would be in the best interest of Travis Hunter to be great at a singular position than to be good at two positions, or good at one of them and just okay at the other. But he's young and he has the energy. He thinks to do it, but eventually it's going to change. And eventually he's going to take a stance that says, well, I tried, but now I want to solely focus on wide receiver or corner, whatever it is. Just like trends go in and out of TikTok and Instagram, this is a trend. And eventually it will be over and people will move on, and so will Travis Hunter. So it's a phenomenal story to cover, and I will be watching closely the Jaguars preseason game because Travis Hunter, by all means, it appears he has a great head on his shoulders. He's a great communicator, great talker in interviews. He's well liked by teammates. But eventually, the torch is going to have to pass over his head, and he's going to have to get past this idea of being a player that plays on both sides of the ball. The last story that I want to discuss today revolves around Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. He waited forever to sign with the Steelers, made it in time for mandatory OTAs, got some relationship with his receivers. But here's why it's not going to work to the degree that people are hoping it's going to. When Aaron Rodgers joins your organization, the opportunity doesn't become, well, let's win a playoff game or two. The opportunity in your mind becomes, let's win a Super Bowl. That is the expectation that comes with Aaron Rodgers playing for the Packers, playing for the Jets, or playing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The problem that Aaron Rodgers is going to have on the Steelers is that it is not a perfect team. It is not a perfect system or perfect situation for Aaron Rodgers to join. If Aaron Rodgers was able to join the Minnesota Vikings like he wanted to, that would be a perfect situation. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, a great defense, running backs, and an offensive line that got improved and upgraded this offseason. That was the perfect situation. And that's why he was working so hard to be a part of the Vikings organization. The Steelers, they make the playoffs every year, but the Steelers do not have the perfect situation. And there have been reports that Aaron Rodgers has struggled throughout training camp, and that the offensive line has struggled to protect Aaron Rodgers to the degree that Aaron Rodgers needs to be protected, because he's not a mobile quarterback anymore. He's a pocket quarterback that's stuck back there because he's 41 years old and can't move. So, yes, Aaron Rodgers is going to generate buzz and storylines because of the quarterback he is and the aura that he has, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are not Super Bowl contenders with Aaron Rodgers because they don't have the perfect situation around him. When Brett Favre came out of retirement in 2009 and played for the Vikings, he tried to join the perfect situation, and it was incredible. Adrian Peterson, Sidney Rice, a great defense, and the Vikings went to the NFC Championship game and were a Brett Favre interception away from making it to the Super Bowl. The Steelers do not have the quote-unquote perfect situation for Aaron Rodgers. The defense is great with TJ Watt and Jalen Ramsey, so he's got that piece, but who is their running back? Who are their wide receivers outside of DK Metcalf, who isn't the youngest player in the league anymore? They traded George Pickens, one of their talented wide receivers, to the Dallas Cowboys, and I guess DK Metcalf's 27, so he's still young enough and still in his prime. But DK Metcalf is not a top 5 wide receiver in football, like a Jamar Chase or a Justin Jefferson. So, yes, Mike Tomlin has a history of always going 500 or better. And they typically find a way to kind of sneak into the playoffs at the end of the year. But this is going to be the year where the Pittsburgh Steelers fall apart. And they don't have enough to get over the hurdle that is the Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals. And I guess the Cleveland Browns kind of stink, but they're still a force to be reckoned with defensively with Myles Garrett. They still have a good defense. So I'm going to go out and make the prediction that the Pittsburgh Steelers finish below 500 this season, and Aaron Rodgers does not ride off into the sunset with a Super Bowl ring, but almost leaves people with a sour taste in his mouth. And it's because he was unable to join the perfect situation that he wanted with Minnesota, but was stuck joining the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. And it was really his only choice. There was not a line of people waiting out the door for Aaron Rodgers and his services. Aaron Rodgers didn't join the Steelers because he wanted to. He backed into the Steelers because it was his only choice. And they needed a quarterback because their quarterback room was mostly empty besides a few occasional backup quarterbacks on their roster. But the Steelers just don't have enough around Aaron Rodgers offensively to be the team that they hope to be, and that is a Super Bowl contender. So those are my NFL takes for today. Thank you for joining, and I appreciate you making this podcast part of your day. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, tell your friends, hit that like button, and I hope you all have a good day and enjoy NFL preseason football. We'll talk to you later.